Order. We will do roll call. Director Shopey,
Here.
Director Robinson,
Here.
Director Parrott,
Here.
Director Crail,
Here.
and I'm Director Rowan, and I am here. Next item is to approve the proposed agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the proposed agenda. Are there any questions or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? I think we'll throw in, you didn't get the conflict of interest in there. Does anybody have a conflict of interest?
You.
I do. That's why I threw it in. So, okay, the next item are the bills.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the bills. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Next item, the milk and bread bids.
If you look on the very last page, you have the bids in. For milk, you got Anderson, Erickson, and Highland. Anderson, Erickson is cheaper in all regards. For bread, you only received one again, and it's Bimbo out of Dubuque. I would make a recommendation that you approve Anderson, Erickson, and Bimbo for your, Anderson, Erickson for milk and Bimbo for your bread out of Dubuque.
Make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve Anderson, Erickson, and Bimbo Bakery. Are there any questions or discussion? Was there any discussion with this stuff? Like if we don't physically have kids in the school, but if we're gonna do.
It's
one-
just what we order. So
It's
it's not,
just on order basis.
yeah, it's on an order basis. So if we
Okay.
order 10 or if we order 100,000, this is the price you pay.
Okay.
Was there much change from last year?
No, they're very similar to last year. If we would not have school or a situation similar to this year, we still do bread and we still do milk because we send out lunches.
Right.
So it's not as much, but we
It just is a different way of doing
Yep.
business that. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 5, fees for 2021.
Okay, so we had a meeting between just central office staff trying to figure out how we are going to do fees and how we're going to do registration. With the current situation, we'd already started setting it up for online registration, but under the current situation, we also would have in-house registration because we need the free and reduced forms, and that 70% of our people get free and reduced, which also determines what they pay for registration fees. There is no way you're going to be able to open up the elementary school and have 300 people in there and 30 staff members trying to walk everybody through it. So then we looked at other options. One option is through Infinite Campus, who we're going to try the online registration through it. You could get a higher level of services, you pay for it, and then they can do free and reduced applications on that. The free and reduced applications are important because that's what your title is based on, and a lot of your other funding is based on what your percentage of free and reduced applications are. The cost of that was $10,000. What we bring in a registration is $20,000. What I'm proposing for 1 year is that we drop all registration charges, so we don't have to bring people in. We still will offer on-site registration to where people can come in and fill out forms if they need to, especially if you need them translated or not. We will mail home the free and reduced forms, and then we'll chase down the people that we didn't get one for, so we can still get all the free and reduced forms put in. But if you do not, the problem is if you have online registration, how we do it is we fill out the free and reduced form right at a table, and then you take it and it determines your fee. If you're free, you don't pay any fees. If you're reduced, you pay a reduced amount. If you're not free and reduced, you pay the full amount. Until we have that form, you cannot figure what people owe. And so you either have to pay the $10,000 to have the online version of it, or you get rid of it, and then you don't have to worry about it. All you have to do is get back the free and reduced forms. I would like to try it for a year. This year be our example to see how it works and then see how you want to continue with it. Mainly because we bring in money with it, but we don't bring in a ton of money with it. If times would get tight, you're bringing it back immediately because you're going to need the money. So my recommendation is for 1 year, you waive the registration fees, and that's all fees. That's your towel fee, your technology fee, your band fee, all of those fees.
And you're saying then you wouldn't do this $10,000 upgrade?
I'm not doing the $10,000
That's okay.
upgrade.
I wasn't sure as I read it what you were.
No, otherwise you're gonna pay $10,000, do the upgrade, bring $20,000 in fees, and you're gonna be 10,000
Okay.
up. So you are losing $10,000 worth of fees by doing this. You're also doing a lot more work and a lot more, just getting the forms to fill out to where you check it and all of that stuff. So I would like to try it for a year and see where we're at, knowing that if we get in a tight fiscal bind, you're bringing this back immediately.
Is that 10,000 just a one-time fee to get it set up?
It's every year.
It would be every year.
Yes,
That's what
it's a
okay.
continuous fee.
So we'll still have online registration.
We'll do online registration. We're also going to do in-house, which we'll set up some computers that are, or some stations that are socially distanced, have some interpreters there so people can still come in if they feel the need to. Just, you don't know what your internet connectivity is everywhere. So you can do it either way, and you're actually going to be pushing more. If you can keep this model, you're going to push more to online registration, so you have few and few people that are coming into the building to do the registration.
So they're only paying for lunch and milk.
Well, yes, but I am doing free lunches at the elementary too.
Oh.
So it's only middle school and high school lunch, which you still need the free and reduced forms for, and then the milk ticket. And we'll just have to send that home if they want to buy the milk ticket or not.
So before we go too much farther, what you're looking for is a motion to waive the fees for a 1-year trial.
Waive the fees for 2021 school year, school fees, which we have set on a schedule, but I'm just waiving them for 2021 year school year.
Do we have a
Can I
motion
ask
for
a
that?
question before we have a motion?
We couldn't hear you, Elaine.
Can I ask a question before we have a motion?
Yes.
So the 10,000 that we normally bring, or the 20,000 that we normally would have generated just from fees that we typically collect, does that just go into the general budget, or is that split between general and athletic and blah, blah, blah?
No, it's all general. The one thing we do ask for a $10 donation for activity tickets. Usually we have less than 20 people that actually do that. That will not go into the athletic department. But everything else goes into your general fund. And we can still set that out.
General fund short?
Say that again?
Is that gonna be a detrimental shortage in our general fund?
I do not believe so. If it is, that's why we're doing a 1-year trial.
Okay.
Can we make CARES pay?
So do we have a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion to waive the 2021 fees for a 1-year trial.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to waive the fees for 2021 on a trial basis. Are there any questions or discussion? Are we going to, with online registration, we may have to work pretty hard to get our free and reduced stuff because those are the people that really need to come in.
So what we're doing is once July hits, we will mail a copy to every household. We will get what we have, and then the people that have not responded, we will contact and go back out to get those forms. So, because we need those forms. There's other things that base on that, but then we're only chasing down the free and reduced forms versus trying to refund or collect money.
I'm wondering if we need to post or somehow publish something to prospective new people, because the people that we know are here, we can trace down, but people that have moved in.
So
If you have moved in, you still have to stop by the school, and then we send a packet of paperwork,
Okay,
because you still have to register your kids. We don't know if they don't stop by the school.
right.
It'd be the same thing as school registration.
It's-
If somebody moving in doesn't always know when it is, so.
Yep, so if a family moves in, they still have to either come here, or they go to the office, at that time they get a pack of paperwork. Because we don't have addresses for people that have moved in. But we will have to communicate that because we still got to get the date out of when we're going to be sitting there. So we do have families that are new to the community. So
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of the challenge is to reaching people that we've already had contact with is a little bit better. It's still a challenge, but
I think there's still some school districts though that completely do online registration.
Yeah.
They don't always have. So,
right.
I mean, they face the same things every year.
this is a new trial for us. First year we're going to it. The reason we've been reluctant to is because of the free and reduced forms and the fees that we do. So we're trying to figure out those kinks.
Would you have a longer window for registration then, versus like our 1 day?
Yes,
Exactly.
Lance, won't we open that up? When would we open up registration?
Online registration, we plan on having open, I believe, July 17th is our
Oh.
go there. July
It's
17th.
quite a bit
weeks
early.
or
That's a
whatever.
month.
Registration is, it's
Continual.
open, and really, any. point
Once
in
you
time-
start it?
Yep,
That would be
Well,
nice.
if it works out, anybody would move in later in the year would have the same
Yes.
access.
and if you need to change anything in your personal, if you move, you change your phone number, anything like that, you can get online, make changes. Then we have approvers that it sends them a notification that change has been made or a new registration's occurred. They go in and approve, and it pulls them into the system.
Nice.
I know a lot of people were talking about that last year.
It gets
Online
repetitive
system.
refilling out all the forms, but some of those forms are also required that you do, like for every kid and that type of stuff. And so hopefully this will take some of that repetitiveness out too,
Yep.
because it is when you have 3 kids to write the same information, the doctors and the numbers and all of that
Yeah.
stuff, it gets,
Now that I'm down to 1.
Yeah.
I used to do 3 every
Yeah, get
year.
rid of
so
2
you
and-
lose. I think
And
it'll be a
this
good thing.
This
Try.
is from preschool all the way.
3-year or 4-year-old preschool is a little bit different. We still got to figure, you can still register them, but we have to figure out how to get them in. And it's nice to have the kids see the building and meet the teacher and stuff before we just dump them off. So, but yes, it's for every kid. And the fees are for every kid.
But even like preschool, 4-year-old is going to start at that same time because that gives us access to who you
Yes.
are. So then we can make contact.
Yes, yep.
So that's good. Elaine, do you have any questions?
I just wondered if Jess could repeat what he said about lunch money.
So there's a program that you can have free lunch for buildings if they qualify. Now there's stipulations with it that they even warn you have to be very close, you have to pay close attention to, and your number of direct certified kids has to be high enough. Otherwise you will lose money in your lunch program. We've studied it for the last few years. This year we believe that we can do it at the elementary. The middle school is getting closer, but it's not there, and the high school is not there yet. So you will not have, elementary will have free lunches going into next year as long as the government continues with the program. When we get to school, the only things people have to pay is lunch money for your middle school kids and your high school kids, and then your milk money for your elementary kids. And we will just have to send out notes saying, please put money into your kids' accounts for those things.
Okay.
And then your lunch tickets.
Okay. I just wasn't sure where the funding was coming from that, but if there's,
Yep, no, it's a federal program, and it's based on your number of direct certified, and direct certified kids are a list the government gives you that says these kids qualify versus
Okay.
parents filling out the forms. What it does is it pays a higher amount for the number of kids you have in that program, but then you get no money for the kids that are not in the program, whether they're free and reduced or not free and reduced. So you have to have enough kids in your direct certified to pay your expenses. And our elementary has got a high enough number that it works for there, but it does not work for the middle school or high school yet.
okay. Perfect.
Any other questions? All those in favor of waiving fees for 2021 as outlined, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Item number 6, school facilities reentry.
Okay, so school facilities reentry. The governor has said by July 1st, we have the option that we can open up our schools. Regardless, we are not going to do anything until after the July 4th weekend, so you're looking at July 6th at the earliest. We've talked to coaches. I've talked to Mr. Thacker. things are different. If you do the weight room is the stickler with it. You cannot have more than 10 kids in any, or 10 people in any group. So if you have a coach, you're down to 9 kids. If you bring in 9 kids, then you bring them in, they do their stuff, you get them out, and then you have to do a cleaning in before the next group can come in. That makes the weight room a little more difficult. The cross country, when you talk to their coaches, you know, kids are individually going out and running, and they're coming and they're checking in. It's easier to keep them separated. So the question is, and what we need guidance is, are we opening our schools to open gyms and facilities July 6th, or do we want to wait and have a deeper discussion on July 13th, which is our board meeting? This guidance also is going to kind of affect our driver's ed, because we've got kids that are waiting to drive. They've taken the class, but they haven't done the driver's ed, and I've told them to wait until after July 4th to see what the guidance is. Now, the governor has said their plan is that you reopen schools and you start schools in the fall. So at some point, we've got to pull the trigger and start reopening them. Are you ready to do that at this point, or do you want to wait a couple more weeks is what I'm asking. And actually, it's one more week. After July 13th, you're opening the buildings. That's what our guidance has pretty well been told until we have a reason to shut them back down.
So technically you reopen July 13th regardless.
July 14th, because the 13th would be the Monday. I want board approval to open it up. Yeah, they're telling us to open up your stuff, and you still have some of your camps and some of your cross country is one of the big things, is your individual runners going out, but your volleyball team to do open gym, your basketball team to do open gym, your wrestling to do open gyms. I mean, there's different activities that go on. We still have to set standards of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable at this point, and that will be between the coaches and the AD and the administration to set that up. It's a matter of when we are going to officially open our buildings.
Okay.
So at this point, about all we can do is we can either have a motion to open facilities on the 6th, or
Wait till the 13th and have discussion.
wait till the 13th and possibly then opening on the 14th with board approval.
Yep.
So what is?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Does the 1 week make much difference, or what would you be looking at in that 1 week time frame?
You have people that are getting antsy. My original recommendation was we wait till the 13th and then we open up at that time. I have talked to Logan about the weight room. I'm not sure we will open up the weight room on the 6th. We've got a lot of work to do to figure out how we're going to do the weight room. The part of it is you may not have that many kids. I mean, it's optional. So you may not have that many kids that want to do it. If you open the weight room and you're doing 9 kids at a time and you have 30 kids that want to live or lift, you're having to find, I mean, it's open almost all day long, which becomes a cleaning nightmare. So we've got to set standards of really when you come in, how do you use the equipment? How do you spot? You know, if a kid's on the bench, do you have to get rid of that and do other stuff? Because I can't stand right over the top of you. So there's some standards that we have to put into place before we can do that. Cross-country coaches, they're ready to get their kids in and get them running. If you can bring 5-10 kids in to shoot baskets, we can start opening up the gyms.
I know
So-
from personal experience, when it's optional, it's been very difficult to get some motivation. But if it's that they can do it as a team, then I think, I mean,
Well, we'll
I've been
have to
pushing
see
all
who's
summer
interested in
long.
to sign them a time. That's how you're gonna have
Here's one of my, just knowing people are still going to the fitness center. There's people that have tested positive and have been to the fitness center within after their 14 days or within their 14 days. I guess that whole thing of what do you do? How do you control it? And what?
You can really control people's actions in that respect. I mean, it's
No, but for the school.
obviously it boils down to if you're sick, you should be staying home, but you can't make people.
But we have to have some type of plan to react if we have something happen is part of the issue. Could we have something like we could open the outdoor portion of the training and fitness stuff on the 6th, and then wait till we have a more detailed plan to be presented to us on the 13th, so then we can approve the indoor usage.
Here's what I would ask with that. If you're going to open it up, you open everything but the weight room. Because I can still spread kids out to shoot baskets. I can still spread kids out to play volleyball. The weight room is the killer.
And that's what I was thinking. I wasn't talking like the gyms and all that, just the weight room. Getting people in.
I think your coaches would not have an issue if you said we're opening everything but the weight room. And by the 13th, we want a plan of what the weight room will look like.
Well, that's what,
And that gives them the time to
That
kind
gives
of
us
come up
time
with
to-
a better
yep,
plan on the weight room.
That's,
Yep.
and that would be what we would ask in a motion that, okay, how do we have set the timeline or how do we do that? So it's the board's discretion. So whatever the majority would like.
I'll make a motion to open everything up except for the weight room
On the 6th.
on the 6th.
Okay.
And then discuss the weight room after our next board
That's next
meeting. Just to get a better idea of what for cleaning and
I'll second.
It's been moved and second to open everything except for the weight room on the 6th with a plan to be presented at our next meeting on the 13th. Are there any questions or discussion?
Where does
Is
driving
there
ed
going
fall
to,
into that?
I got two questions. Elaine, ask yours, then I'll take Tracy's.
When you say open everything up, I'm assuming that you're talking like your open gyms, et cetera, and whatever.
You break up
Can't
every
hear
time
you.
you say the important thing.
well, I'm just saying, like, when you say open things up so they can have an open gym, but I'm assuming that means that, and I'm just asking this because people are gonna say, well, what's the plan? How are they gonna do this? And how are they gonna sanitize, blah, 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 so. is that
There,
Part of that?
there are
And
still,
everyone's gonna be required to provide that information, I guess.
okay, there are still social distancing guidelines we have to follow. There are social distancing guidelines that we get from the athletic associations as well. You will still never have more than 9 kids and a coach at one time. So if I open up for basketball, 9 kids is the most I can have. If I open up for volleyball, 9 kids is the most I can have. You're still going to have to practice the social distancing. I will talk to Rich. We'll put in a protocol of, you're going, if you're sick, you have to stay home. Whatever the state recommends, there's a checklist that says what you need to do. And if somebody's positive and you've been there, you're going to be quarantined for 14 days. So, but yeah, we will follow. It's just not willy nilly. There's a protocol that we have to follow. And that's part of the thing we will present on the 13th too, is here's how we're doing it. So
Okay. I just
You
wanted-
mentioned driver's ed.
Somebody-
Where is that gonna fall in?
if you're fine with opening driver's ed, we are going to, if you're going to have 2 people in the car, they're going to wear masks. I mean, it's just what you have to do, or you have to wait to do your
So
driving.
they
at a
fall
different
under the
time.
July 6th, just the weight room is
Yeah,
July
if they
15th.
want to schedule them, if you're fine with that, I'm fine with that, because we've got a lot of kids that we want to get through. So,
yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Okay, so we have a motion to open everything except for the weight room, which would include driver's ed, on the 6th with a plan for the weight room to be presented by the 13th. Is there any other final questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Item number 7, return to learn.
okay, return to learn plan. We have a plan that's due to the state tomorrow. We have been working on it throughout the month of June. This is a 49-page document of questions that you have that they've asked, if anybody would like to review it. The main thing that you're doing is you have to tell them how you're going to put a plan together to offer education to students in case we get into a shutdown situation again, or if we have to close, or start closed. The guidance we received last Thursday is you will start school normal, and they're restricting the social gather. There's no 6-foot barrier that you have to have, and they want kids in class. What we will do over the next month, we'll submit this plan tomorrow. Over the next month, we will get finalized of what our school day is going to look like, and then what it's going to look like if we have to shut down. There's a good chance that if we bring kids back, you're not looking at a full shutdown. You can look at a partial shutdown. If you have a case into a pod or into a group of kids, that class may not be able to come. They may be quarantined, and then you're going to have to figure out how you're going to educate those. Our plan right now is to meet as individual buildings to figure that out. And we are also in conversation with Belmont, Clemmy, and Clarion Goldfield to say, let's get together and see if we can do this countywide, because we got the same health officials, you've got the same emergency management. How are you guys doing it, and see if we can put a plan together that kind of fits that way. So all I'm doing is updating you of where we are with the return to learn plan. But the guidance that came out last Thursday is it is expected that we will return to school in a normal setting. So that's really what we're going to drive, and we will have the backup plans if something looks differently. And things can change really fast, really quick. We've learned that already. So
You don't need a motion to.
I don't need a motion or anything for that. That's just information. Part of this is I have to document when we've had discussions on it. So if anybody has questions, they can ask me questions on it too, of what our thought process is.
So when first day of school would be?
Right now, the first day of school is August 17th, but that is not part of our official calendar. Those are 5 additional days that we are adding to the calendar to try to make up some of the stuff we missed last year. We do not even know if those are going to be full days yet or not, because they might be half days to where we can do the in-service on the other end to try to figure out it's days we have with staff to figure out how we're going to meet some of this. I anticipate you will have parents that do not want to send their kids back. We will work with those parents. We have to have a plan to say, if you want to homeschool your kid, what materials can we offer you until you feel comfortable bringing them back into the setting? If that number is significant, what staff are we going to assign to those kids? So there's a lot of little things like that we still have to figure out in the next month. So busing's the biggest concern I have right now. I don't know how you're going to offer busing in town. Our buses, 68 passenger bus will have 55 passengers on every single one of them. You may not be able to offer busing at this time, especially if they don't, even if they say 1 per seat with a mask, you're still only got 20 kids. There's no way. I just don't have the busing or the staffing to get kids there. So you may find yourself running country routes, and that's it until we can open it back up in town. So.
Any other questions for Jess? Okay. Other business from 1920.
You got anything, Teresa? No. I don't either.
I would just say, like I said, great job to everybody involved with graduation.
And that went very
It
well.
looked,
That was
it
nice.
looked very good online. So,
Darren did a good job. It was a little warm.
hot.
And we went before and bought some water and set out water there. So
Yeah.
Gee, I feel bad that you went up there.
I was sweating.
Okay, our favorite motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
thank you.